All right. All right. So, in this series, these last few weeks, we have been talking about deciding what makes your yoga teacher training unique. So, we talked about what makes your teaching, your studio unique. A couple of videos ago, I talked about thinking about it in the way of what feedback do you get from your students? What draws them to your teaching? What keeps them at your studio? Those are the same types of things that you're going to use as material to feed into deciding how your training is unique, what your training is. Then last week, we talked about deciding what your training is not, which is a weird concept, right? Because we hesitate to narrow ourselves down because we want to be everything to everybody. So in this whole series here, we've been talking about deciding what makes you unique. Those are some of the steps we have taken. So the goal here is deciding what makes your training unique so that you can use it both to hone what you're teaching, what you're offering, what you're giving to your students, and the clarity is going to help you, help them. It is also going to help you hone and clarify your marketing message, because when you decide what makes your training unique, and when you use that to hone your marketing message, to hone what you're teaching and what you're offering, the people who are looking for yoga teacher training in your area are going to be very, very quickly understand what it is that you offer and how you are different, right? So that message is going to resonate with some people and not resonate with others. And that's okay, because when you're not clear, sometimes it resonates with people and it doesn't resonate with everybody, right? So when you get clear, when you use these tools and this idea of deciding those things that you're not, maybe you are a flow-based training. My training is a flow-based training versus a training focused on restorative classes, right? There's going to be a chunk of information out there that is the same or very similar. For instance, you and a restorative program may both cover the 8 limbs by chance, right? There's a good chance. You may cover different branches of yoga. You may even talk about the same historical teachers or traditional teachers. But there will be a piece of that, a good piece, right? Teaching methodology, your sequencing, all of those things will be different. And those are the pieces that you bring to the table that the training down the street brings differently to the table. And so you want to be clear about that. So you're not going to say we're flow-based and restorative and we do kids yoga and we do all of these things. You're going to say this is what we do and we do it really well. And this is what you're going to get when you come to our training and what we hope you take with you when you graduate from our training. So all of those things help. Obviously, it's a very clear marketing message and a clear message internally, right? When you have agreed with yourself that you are not certain things, it's like a weight almost is lifted off your shoulders, right? Because you have decided this is what you do. This is what out of yoga resonates with you, and that's what you wish to share. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's going to help your training be stronger. It's going to help your marketing message be clearer. And in the end, it is going to help you grow. So some of this may seem really tedious. In one of the first videos, we talked about why bother, writing some of those things down. In one of the videos, I talked about writing down what made your teaching unique outside of yoga teacher training, but just your teaching in general, your studio, what makes those things unique. Last week, I asked you to write down what your training is not. And this week, we're going to put those things together and pull out that brainstorming journal or paper again and really decide what your training is. Now, don't hit the panic button. As you do this, it will become more clear. If you go through your first or your second or your fourth yoga teacher training and you don't quite feel like your message is clear or what you're training on is clear, know that it will start to become clearer for you. When I started my training, I started at my first training in 2010 and I registered with Yoga Alliance in 2011. I only knew that I needed to run training to help my yoga studio survive, quite honestly. That was it. I didn't have grandiose ideas of making my training unique. In the area I was in, within a 20-mile radius, I was pretty lucky. There weren't really any other trainings, but I really just wanted to be able to help people sequence classes, teach them about the postures safely. That was kind of my goal because I needed teachers and I needed a way to help my studio make ends meet. The whole business for me of becoming clear about what my training is and is not came to me over time. My goal here is to help you shortcut that process and be thinking maybe sooner about what makes your training unique, because quite honestly, these days there are more trainings out there and it's essential that you are clear about what you offer and what you're good at, right? You're good at something related to this business of teaching, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So let people know what that is and take some time to write it down. That's a great way to get really clear about it. All right, so you're taking out that last piece of paper, the last bit of homework for this series, and you're gonna jot down what your training is. Maybe right now it's a goal of what your training is and what you hope it morphs into. So that's it for this series, and that's how you're gonna use this, both to hone your training and your marketing. One other thing I wanted to talk about today, well, the first thing is, our next series is going to be more on how-to tips for sequencing your class, training on sequencing in your yoga teacher training classes, journaling, posture labs, those kinds of how-to things more around the physical activities in your classes. Mary posted on one of the posts about how her trainees were having trouble getting confidence around understanding what to focus on as they're teaching. And so I want to touch on that in one of the upcoming videos as well, because my bet is that there are other trainers out there with those same kinds of questions. So thank you, Mary, for posting that. So we will start talking more about that too in the upcoming series that's coming up in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. The other piece I wanted to talk about briefly today is some of you have joined in Yoga Trainers Tribe, or you're watching from Yoga Tree Consulting and you aren't sure exactly what it is I offer. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of a snippet about what that is. Of course, at any time you can reach out to me with further questions, but what I offer is, so my goal in offering Yoga Tree Consulting as a business is to help yoga teachers, yoga studios develop a yoga teacher training that supports their studio financially, let's be honest. We all have rent to pay when we're running a studio, so it helps them financially, helps them with staff. Sometimes yoga teachers come and go, and you may have a core set of teachers that's there for a while, and then you may have some that really turn over a lot. And so you want to, this is a way that you can help train teachers and really get an idea of their teaching right before you hire them. So helping you and your studio in a number of ways. That's the goal. To do that, what I offer is a yoga teacher training curriculum. This curriculum consists of a manual and a workbook. Both are editable. And they consist of, depending on how you use it, 120 to about 135 hours of materials. Everyone I've worked with, and when I started this process, I asked people a lot of questions, and I continue to do so. Everyone wants to add their own expertise to training. So the remaining hours, if you decide to register as a school with Yoga Alliance as an RYS 200, those remaining hours would be hours that are your specialty, as I talked about, whether you're a flow-based training or restorative, those are hours that you can add in to make it uniquely yours, right? So you get a manual, a workbook, there's a trainer version and a trainee version. The trainer version has all the answers, the posture lab is filled in, the test is filled in, the worksheets are filled in, and then the trainee version is, of course, not. I do a lot of journaling, so I have some journaling guidance for trainers in there and some journaling pages. I send all of this to you electronically. One, so that you can add your own materials and choose how you want to print this and offer this to your trainees. So the other piece that you get when you work with me is an editable syllabus. In the syllabus, if you decide to register with Yoga Alliance, they want a completed syllabus from you for all 200 hours of the materials that you plan to offer. And so the syllabus that I send you is, again, editable. If you decide to edit the materials, you'll need to edit the syllabus accordingly. The way the syllabus is filled in currently, and if you don't edit the materials, you copy and paste that into the Yoga Alliance tool that they require you to fill out online. But a lot of people edit it, so you'll edit it and then copy and paste into the Yoga Alliance syllabus. None of it is pre-approved. However, I have used this syllabus, obviously, with a number of clients. And so I help you work through the questions that you have with Yoga Alliance. They always return with some questions, some clarifications, and I help you work through that if you decide to register with Yoga Alliance. So that's what I offer, is a curriculum for you to really get started. It's like a boost, right? It's like a jump start. Most of the people I work with have said, I've been meaning to do this for years. I just don't have the time to pull all of it together. They have an idea about specifically what they want to talk about as it relates to their specialty. So for instance, one of my current customers has aerial yoga, and she offers a deeper dive on meditation at her studio. So those are the pieces that she added in her additionally to her syllabus when she submitted through Yoga Alliance. I have had customers who are more focused on restorative classes, and so they added a big chunk of information about restorative classes and teaching those in their syllabus. So it's editable to make it your own, but it's a jump start to help get you started on structure, a big chunk of the hours, and that's what people were asking for from me. Now, what I have found out more recently as I continue to work with people is that some of you already have a training going, or you've either started the process with Yoga Alliance, or you have a training, maybe a fledgling training, maybe you've run it once or twice, but you need some support materials. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be releasing some of the materials in smaller chunks to help support you in those ways. So those will be rolling out soon. I don't have all the details, so I will share those as I have them. But the smaller chunks of the training is going to be coming soon as well. All right, so this is Julie Chavanaugh with Yoga Tree Consulting. You may be watching this on Yoga Tree Consulting or Yoga Trainers Tribe. The Tribe is our group where I answer questions, make regular posts about training. So join over there if you're watching from Yoga Tree Consulting, and join the conversation. Get some support, get some input. Sometimes it's not always available in your local market, and so get some support in running your training and really getting your footing going with your own teacher training. All right, tune in next week. Stay tuned in the group, and we'll see you next time. All right, thank you for tuning in.